Spotlight is on child safety, as we've seen harrowing incidents of children being killed, abused even by their parents or relatives spiking across the country. Well, Duduzile Skhosana from Save the Children South Africa is with us in studio to give us more details on this. Duduzile, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, sis, and thank you for having us.
Look, Duduzile, we continue seeing children being raped, being kidnapped. I mean, we've just done a story where a child was sitting in the back of her father's car, and this was a hijacking that happened, and she actually died from being shot there. I mean, what does your organization say when you see a spike in such incidents?
It's appalling, to be honest. This scourge is beyond everyone, and we as Save the Children, we are really appealing to the nation. It's not, to be honest, it's not a South African problem alone. We see this scourge globally. Children are so vulnerable all over the world. Unfortunately, abuse is not only something that happens personally. Some of the abuse is systematic and infrastructural. We see that all over. So,
But what do you think are the main contributing factors, particularly in South Africa?
The problem is there is too much violence in the country.
So it's something that they grew up around.
It's something that children
violence.
get exposed to at a very early age. And research tells us that when children get exposed to violence at an early age, it affects their adulthood. So the abusers that we see today, the murderers, the people who are like convicted criminals mostly, they are people who were exposed to violence at an early age.
And Duduzile, what do you think needs to be done, not just by parents, but by society as well as our law enforcement agencies?
What we are appealing to government for is that we need more prevention programs. We need to sensitize communities about this scourge. We need to talk to people. We need to have conversations at different levels in society, at community level, at parental families, and government needs to invest in that. Unfortunately, with the recent reduction in budgets, it has affected organizations like us, smaller organizations who are right there in the community to assist government in addressing issues like violence against children.
Let's talk further on government. I mean, we often hear that child rights are often overlooked and not even respected, but that it's also hard to find justice for the children, because not only can they not talk for themselves, but it is very hard to find a legal framework that actually outlines a direct, clear plan or path of how to deal with the child abusers. So let's talk about that. I mean, what other means are you doing as an organization? Are you joining in the fore to say, you know what, government needs to change or relook the Child Acts?
At the moment, we have come together with different organizations, big organizations. We're collaborating we have an advocacy campaign that is focusing on addressing and preventing violence against children, to be specific. What we are doing...
And how does that work, Duduzile?
The collaboration has started with having a conversation with government, for instance. We're talking with executive personnel in government to hear, to get to the same level of understanding of what violence against children is and what each and everyone who's a civil servant, who's an employee of government can do. And also we are taking that to, as we are approaching the 2019 elections, we are looking at having the same conversation with political parties, different political parties. We have lined up activities with individual parties because we want them to, when they do their manifestos, to make sure that they flag the issue of violence against children.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen so many bills being passed and everything seems to be neglecting the children.
Exactly. And we are appealing to you as the media to also be sensitive in how you highlight these issues. You know, if we as media has a very big role to play, you have made impacts in different areas of our lives. So we know that there is a big role that media can play also in addressing and sensitizing community.
All right. Okay, and then Duduzile, before I let you go, let's talk about what we then as society can do to aid in those campaigns, because we see that the various actions and campaigns that are currently in place are not doing enough.
Unfortunately, it's not enough, but it's worth doing. So what we are appealing to individual community members or society members is that everyone should play a part. Me and you, we can play a part in our own sphere, where in our own areas of influence, in your community, in your church, everywhere. We need to flag this, and we need to also put our money where our mouths are. So everyone, whoever has extra to give, then let us give that extra and make sure that we keep our children safe and secure. And also, there's this issue of us as society, that we don't participate in different processes that government is calling. Bills are passed, government call for
public participation,
participation, and only few people attend.
That's true.
Even, you know, it's honestly very sad that even schools, when meetings are called in schools to talk about our own children, parents do not attend meetings. We don't do much. We are only talking, but we are not doing anything.
And I think if we remember some of the stories that also came out in the beginning of this year, the abuse that is taking place at schools now, that actually means that these conversations should be starting currently at the school level. All right, any campaigns that you'll be flagshipping during this particular time, Duduzile?
Yes, I'm coming from one of them right now. We are educating parents and early childhood practitioners on positive discipline, because also that contributes, corporal punishment contributes to violence as well. So our focus as Save the Children this year, in this year's Child Protection Week, is building the capacity of parents and early childhood practitioners on positive discipline.
Thank you so much. I thought you were going to say you're campaigning for a child department within government. Just that is going to deal
campaigning for
particularly
more budget for prevention programs, for parenting programs. We need more money. We need organizations, small organizations, to drive this process on the ground.
Duduzile, best of luck, and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. That is Duduzile Skhosana from SABC, and she was talking to us about Child Protection Week this week. Peter?